I had my stream unmuted. I was wondering why I could hear my keyboard sounds. By the way, if people are in the chat, just let us know that you can hear all of us. Javi, Pichy, say hello.
Konbanwa.
No.
Yep. I wonder if there's a way of making you guys glow when. Oh, actually, I think I have an idea. Hopefully this works.
Trying to get that authentic Google Hangouts experience. Sort of video presentation we crave from an audio podcast.
Add.
I mean, YouTube is quite often viewed muted. In fact, muted more frequently viewed while muted.
Window
So the
chat.
rise of the talking head brand of YouTube is itself an extremely funny subset of the website.
Oh wait, I think I know why it's not letting me do that. So, okay, that's a not gonna do that idea, but hopefully stream's working fine. Let's give it a couple of minutes, see if people are in yet. I might actually do a tweet myself. Blah blah blah.
Are we virtual YouTubers?
Hey domo!
Well, I'm a real Twitch streamer. I can't show my acting though right now.
I want to be an anime girl.
Should I just
Should have installed FaceRig, mate.
should I just put bunny ears on your picture?
I mean, I could bust out my Kinect and actually get my virtual YouTube rig going. But then I would have to stand for the entire duration of this show, and I have done enough standing today.
Alright, Doko Discord. Alright, I guess we should start talking. So,
Nah.
oh, yeah, let's just sit here silently, just not do anything.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Um, let me just take a sip of my water.
Oh, I've got some peach tea here. It's very good.
It reminds me I should brew some tea sometime later tonight. Yeah, so I've just decided to host this podcast for tonight. This is pretty much a tradition after every major. I'd say that's true to a certain extent, Pitchy, yeah?
Well, it's a tradition by which we mean I was experimenting with having a fortnightly anime fighting games podcast for the Australian community going for... I think I got about 6 months worth of content out of that before I realized that I was running out of topics, and my passion as far as developing a radio profile was being limited by the project, and so I quietly abandoned it and switched to doing film podcasting, which has in turn been cancelled because all my podcasters bailed on me. So, you know, that's creative side projects. They're all amateur, they're all fun.
So I guess we could say this is a special edition of the anime podcast, I guess, commemorating a special event.
Well, it depends on who wants to claim ownership of this and get those sweet, sweet AdSense cents.
Yeah, I'll enjoy my 5 cents from Google. That will probably be taxed as well.
Whew, that's an ambitious gain. 5 cents? That's what? 80,000 views?
Oh, jeez.
As much as my Shockmaster video?
Yeah, so I'm doing this because I'm sure all of us have a lot of thoughts and a lot of stories of OHN16. Obviously, last year we didn't run, or we, as in the Sydney scene, we didn't get the opportunity to run OHN, mainly due to a big transition in organisation. I'm not sure if everyone's seen the 4.5 hour long fiery VOD where he talks about how OHN was transitioning from the old guard of Henry, Charmaine, all those people, into the new guard of Fiery, Ichijian, Gilbags, all those guys. So this year, we decided to go to Bankstown. I'll be completely honest, it made a lot of sense to me. I don't want to go into details as well, but let's just say the Bankstown venue was a lot more affordable than the city venues for obvious reasons. And
Hmm.
it seems like everyone enjoyed the venue. What are you guys' thoughts of Bankstown sports and Bankstown in general? Let's start with you, Javi, since you haven't really said anything.
Well, I'm not out here to be like Twitch superstars like the both of you, but let's see. I ate a lot of venue food. I ate a lot of burgers and chips,
Ah, you
and
fool!
it got me thinking like, how do these Aussie guys, when they're Western food, keep on eating chips in every single meal? I gained a pimple on my forehead as well after the weekend.
Oh,
Um,
really? It's because of all the grease, I guess.
yes, yes.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Bloody white.
Um, and actually, for my work, I came back and then on the Monday, I went to take my like staff pass photo. Apparently, that photo is like going to last me for like at least like 5-6 years or something. And I've
Oh,
got this like huge
jeez.
pimple in my head.
Oh man, that sucks. Well, that is if you last 5 or 6 years at that company. So, yeah, like the venue's great. For me
But the food
personally,
was good,
yeah,
yeah.
food's good. Like the food and drinks there are like so cheap compared to like getting options in the city. It's crazy. Like for me personally, I'm a big fan of having like craft beer and stuff, and pints of beers there were like $8 to $9, and you compare that to like anywhere else in Sydney, it's crazy. It's like $2 to $3 less expensive. And I know Pichy, you're a big fan of the multi-ethnic cuisines that were on offer around the venue, like outside of the venue, I should say.
Oh, the I see that's the trick. You think, hey man, there's a bunch of fancy options in this bootleg Caesar's Palace / Luxor venue that we've got, but really, the real power was you step outside the venue, and it's cost you like $3 to get you a freaking banh mi, $4 to get some really good pide, man. Like there were 5,000 restaurant options and diner options, and street food in Adelaide costs you about $15 a pop. So having proper pricing on street food that's really high quality, and if you're after the nutritious stuff, you can actually like not eat like shit. It was great.
No, honestly though, you could probably just eat nothing but like banh mi's for lunch and pho or bun bo hue for dinner, and you'd
Hmm.
feel pretty great after the weekend because they're pretty healthy
Absolutely.
foods.
That's why I felt good.
That's good to hear. And
I mean, the food
yeah,
food was good, but I wouldn't call it high on variety outside, right? It's like Vietnamese or Vietnamese.
So
I mean, I mean, my
take it over
family
burgers,
cooks
mate.
cooks lots of Vietnamese, so
oh, so maybe it's like at the point where like I don't want to eat Vietnamese, I want to eat non-Vietnamese. But I guess for people like me, Pitchy, and all the non-Vietnamese people, I guess having all those restaurants around was pretty good. Because for me, I love Vietnamese food, so it's fresh, it's tasty. I guess the only people that hate it are like those that can't eat coriander, aka Ruse Cruise. He always complains about uh, that sort of food.
Oh, so is Roos being white, or is he actually one of the like 40% of
The soap
humans
people.
for whom, yeah, the ones for whom coriander tastes like soap? Because that is a real thing, unlike most complaining about herbs and spices where it's just you suck.
actually, speaking of Vietnamese food, did people get their pork buns? Pork rolls, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you're just
I,
talking about. $3, man. 350.
no,
$4.50 for the
as in
roast
like,
pork?
did people get their pork rolls for joining VB?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
Blake
they did.
ones.
Yeah, yeah. Gaijin Weeb took like a couple of people over for playing in BB, so I was a witness to that, so I can attest that that actually
Oh,
happened. But it
I tell
wasn't
you,
that
I
many
missed
people.
out.
Yeah. Well, he like pinged it once in the OHN16 Discord channel, and then I guess no one saw it, or maybe you were sleeping, Javi. I don't know, because it was like at lunchtime on the Saturday, and I'm pretty sure I don't know where you were.
Last time on a Saturday, I was probably in top 8 DOA.
Oh yes.
yes.
Yeah, probably
What a
expected
journey
to.
that top 8 was.
Oh, great.
Though bringing up Discord is actually a good way to jump off on one of the inevitable comments from any event, which is always Soundwash. And Soundwash is always going to be a massive nuisance and problem at events because you have a lot of people in a small space with a lot of setups trying to get sound going. I was mentioning a bit on Discord the other day that while certainly a solution is to provide headsets to every setup, one, that's expensive, two, there is a very real public liability situation when lots of people are being shared the same headphones, of potentially transferring things like ear infections. So we do need to look in actually just having double adapters of 3.5mm jacks for people to bring their own headsets with at events going into the future. I think that's a cost that everyone needs to actually look at as being a thing that is worth doing.
Yeah,
General sound wash, you can't really stop unless you actually invest in having barriers up around across every aisle in order to reduce the amount of sound wash between each section. I was kind of curious, and if there's anyone in the stream chat who entered Mortal Kombat, since of course Mortal Kombat is an R18 game, you have to pipe and drape it off due to legal requirements. And I'm actually curious if if it was a lot easier to talk to each other at a lower volume if you were in that area.
I didn't actually go inside the Mortal Kombat area, so I can't really comment about that. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stream chat, give it a shout.
But I want to add to the sound wash issues that I think when you go to so many major events, you kind of get accustomed to it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I guess for those that are like new to the scene and haven't been to that many majors, it might be a bit of a culture shock for them. So, but yeah, I think what's true is that players should deserve some sort of option to actually be able to listen to the game sounds if they need to.
There's games where it's mandatory.
Yeah, I do like the idea of having the splitters. I also do propose that maybe investments could be made into getting those anti-noise cancelling headphones, because those work really well, especially in situations and like major tournaments. Having those on are really good. I know a lot of players such as Isoropia, Awakened Being, and Runus use those headphones a lot while they're at tournaments, and yeah, it's pretty funny because we call them the Bose Crews, the Bose Crew, because they always wear those headphones around at every major.
Oh, I think Pichy's on the right track in that. Like, I think you're right in that it's a very common thing in all tournaments, but I don't think it should be accepted. Oh, my mic just dropped. I think every tournament suffers from this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and just cable with 3.5mm double adapter is a universal solution, and much like in FGC events, there is the norm of bring your own controller, bring your own headset. I think is definitely something we need to get establishing as a cultural norm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I mean, it sounds nice, but like we'll see how we go back to establishing it as a cultural norm. I know for BAM we have the separate splitters. They're not too expensive. They're actually fairly cheap, and it comes with a little volume knob as well.
Oh yeah, basic 3.5mm double adapters cost about $2, and that's if you're going to JCAR and paying JCAR tax on them.
Javi, just out of curiosity, did you have any like sponsor obligations from any companies for BAM that you had to wear this certain headset on stage or anything like that? Like for the players, I mean, like the provided ones, I guess.
I guess, like, yeah, maybe the headphones.
Yeah. Would I guess what I'm trying to say?
For on the stage, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it's not in the world. Like the stage setup still had the splitters, so you can still plug in your own one if you want to.
Right. Yeah, it's a issue that it's always going to arise at every tournament, and I guess it is always worth having that dialogue with the organizers of the tournaments to see what the best solutions are for reducing it, especially if you're on stage.
I'm thinking less about the stage, because the stage one's always an obvious one. I'm just thinking about general communication in a venue, because there's a level of projection that you need to do if you want to preserve any sort of voice throughout the entire weekend. Things are noisy and you got to get used to it. And my general point was that it's something you basically have to get used to as far as broader communication unless you're willing to invest in having sound breaks all throughout your venue.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit of a. It's just adding another dimension to the venue logistics that you have to account for.
I think because I'm actually short on time. Let's like talk about
Yeah, let's
like
talk about
OHN.
yeah, let's talk about OHN itself. Shall we talk about the tournaments? That might be the best thing to talk about first, since I guess all of us watched all the tournaments. Let me just switch my scene. Let's talk about what tournament should we start with first?
This is the Javi one since he has to leave early.
Okay, let's do tag. So tag.
I was going to ask about DOA first, actually, since Javi entered that.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's quickly talk about DOA since Runus won.
Okay, question one, Javi, is since so Runus is playing Nico, who I believe is still top tier. Is the command throw still plus 15 plus back turn? Or did they reduce the frame advantage finally?
They reduced the frame advantage, but you still get a guaranteed combo off it.
Cool game.
Yeah, so before
like PPP now rather than like a mid into launch.
No, it's right now it's a mid into launch. What they removed was the option to reset. So right now you do your mid into launch, which is forced to go into launch. Before you could do mids and then you can choose to reset, or you can do like fatter launchers or fatter ground strings or whatever. So it's definitely a nerf.
Nerf, but that throw is still holy shit! What a move to be putting in a Virtua Fighter style game.
It's pretty damn good, yes.
Yeah. So Javi, commiserations. You did reset the bracket, but you didn't get to beat Marinus in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Nico smile.
Yeah, I mean, Runus, he played well. The game's very simple, so there's not a lot of training mode required for the game. As long as you make the right, press the right buttons, and because it's very rock paper scissors, Virtual Fighter like I heard. I don't play Virtual Fighter, so I can't.
The button scheme is the same as Virtual Fighter, but the combo. I mean, DOA is more comparable to Killer Instinct and Skullgirls in terms of you do need to be mentally engaged while you're taking hits. But certainly, the game is blah. I forgot what I was going to say halfway through this sentence. I mean, it's very much a game, particularly 6, is at the point where you don't need to spend that much lab time on it, but you do need to spend time playing with people in order to get a feel of what reads you need to be making. Sam Show 7 is the other game this year which feels like that.
Yeah, so it's very much playing the player as opposed to playing the character. I think, Runus exposed one of my biggest weaknesses, which is lows. I can't react to lows in it. Just like I can't react to highs.
Games.
Yeah, I can't react to lows, so he kept hitting me with lows and had the advantage, and he won. That's fine.
Let's just quickly move on because Javi's got short of time. So I will pop up the brackets for BB Tag. Do you guys have them open? Do I have to screen share?
Yeah, nope. I'm just going to slowly open Smash.gg on my end and
I have it open.
Get to them.
Oh, I showed the wrong window. Yeah. So basically, results: Rag Show first, Jetalink second, third Javi, fourth Tez, fifth and sixth were Len and Ruse Clues, seventh and eighth were Ambient and Rumors. I'm glad Rumors got top 8. He really likes the game, by the way, which is nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so BB Tech, especially for the existing anime players who play other anime games, it doesn't have a very good reputation, but it has a lot of, I guess, new players.
Yeah, it has a lot of people that only just play BB Tag and none of the other anime games.
Yeah. So they've been introduced through BB Tag, yeah. Which is what BB Tag was aimed to do in the first place. You know, being like a bit easier, or on the surface at least. I should say the floor is lower. because the game can get pretty hard too at a higher level if you're greedy and stuff.
So my experience with cross tag is I didn't play it last year because I'd started playing DBFC and my brain was not interested in learning to assist games in 1 year. So I ignored it until the 1.5 patch hit. I spent one weekend working out what buttons do and how tandem stand mode works. What's it called? Cross assault? No, that's cross Tekken. What is activate both at once and now your Eddie mode called?
Cross combo.
Okay, so I learned how to do cross combo things and had a vague feel of what the style is. Brought it up, went to the next meet and said, "Hey, I kind of understand this game now. Let's play." And everyone went, "Nope." So I've not touched the game since that weekend, but figured, hey, I know buttons in it. I'll then see what happens. I went 1 and 2, I think, on this bracket. But my impression from the matches I saw and the sorts of people I did play against in the few games that I played, that my impression was this scene is trash at this game. And if I'm able to grind this game out for 6 months, then I'll beat everyone up. And I really want to get some training partners in order to prove that claim. If not, otherwise, I'm glad that people are playing and enjoying a game, because enjoying games is really fun. And if they're striving to improve, like, that matters way more than, yo, I'm going to be the king of this game. So it's, hey, this is a game where if I learn it, I'm pretty sure I can just talk some shit and get something going.
I mean, that's a very bold claim, I guess.
So I think
I've been playing games for a long time, and there's games where I can quite easily grok what's happening, and this is absolutely a game where it's like, I get this game's flow, I just need the matchup knowledge.
Javi, do you have something to say?
Oh no, I was I actually can see where Pichy is coming. So, BB Tag hasn't got a lot of, I guess, veteran other like ex-anime players playing the game.
Yeah, looking at
legacy
this bracket,
players? Is that
you
what
are
you're
the
legacy players.
Yeah.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, looking at this bracket, you and I are the most grizzled vets of any sort of community who are in this bracket.
Well, you also have Ragyo, who is, I believe he's China's best BB player, and you have Jedi Link, who's, I'm pretty sure he's the Australia's best Skullgirls player. Is there any debate to that?
I haven't paid attention to Skullgirls since I got a job in 2014.
But anyway, those two players, in my opinion, are pretty strong at their respective games. So,
Yeah, they're good.
yeah. Like, I wouldn't want to discount them as just pure BB tag only players.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying that there's less. I'm not saying there was none, right? And I think I think that sort of reflects how Pichy was sort of experiencing the scene, right, as he's playing other people.
I think the nicest way to say it is instilling in me a bloodlust that I haven't had in a fighting game in a number of years. It's like, I want to improve because I want to fuck some people up. I haven't felt that in a while. I want to beat some people up. Like, I think that's why I was hanging around CVS2 this weekend. It's, there's people who don't know CVS2. You're going to learn about roll cancel lightning today, mate.
Don't you wish in an alternate universe, Pichy, that instead of everyone in SA playing MVC3, they played BB tag?
No, like, the Marvel boys are having fun with Marvel.
Fair enough.
I'm used to being alone in the corner and just playing something to work. That is how I spent the entire pre-SF4 and post-SF4 era.
I'm just looking through this bracket right now. Any upsets that come out to you, Javi?
So I didn't see this, but Fire did, and this is a bit, I guess, one-sided, biased. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. But I am an upset according to the seeding, right? Because I was seeded like 11th or 10th or something. End up being third.
Yeah, just get some good placements and get good results. Also, a lot of this seeding was based on Sunny Side Up as the greatest contributor, which is why I say Len got top seed because he won that tournament.
I thought Seraph would do a bit better.
I've never seen Seraph play that BB tag before, so.
Oh, he's been playing online a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, he lost to Rumors, and Rumors plays the grappler team. So, should we just move on from tag? No last thoughts.
I mean, otherwise, like, to be honest, there wasn't many upsets. Oh, I think. Well, that's not true. I beat Tez. I think that was like I think Tez was favored there by a fair margin. I beat Ruse, which it sounds like weird at first, right? You're like, oh, of course Javi will beat Ruse, but then like I played Ruse at casuals. We played like 40 games, and he destroyed me. Like it was like 10-1 ratio, destroy. Um, but then when it came to tournament time, I don't know what he like. He just decided to give me a free win or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Was it you against Ragyo where the controller issue happened? Or was that
Uh
another game?
no, that was grand finals
Ah, okay.
or like winners finals.
Yeah,
Hello.
I saw the
I mean, it made Fiery happy.
yeah, I saw the for some reason Fiery stream was still going on, and there was like an alternate commentary team of like live and stream monsters, and you could just only see them commentating on the stream, like on the stage setup. It was so weird to watch, but like their reaction when it happened was pretty funny.
What team do you play in tag, Javi? I think I
Makoto,
was running something. Makoto?
Makoto, and Ruby.
That makes sense.
Kinda.
That checks out. That seems like your aesthetic.
All right.
So-
Yeah.
I gotta go in 5 minutes, so let's.
All right. Let's go talk about CF.
Dude,
No,
yeah,
I think Javi needs to specify the things that he wants to talk about most. If he's only got 5 minutes.
Go
Go to gear, go to gear, go to gear, go to gear.
Guilty.
Guilty Gear. It's a good game. It's a good game. Fairy's good at it.
Should we start with Audacity losing to Ash, or is there anything else that you want to start on with Javi?
So I think Risky and Ash at BAM had unfortunate accidents or whatever. I don't know what the best wording is, but I think they didn't do it as well as I thought they would do or could have done, right? And they were misrepresented in that sense. But you mean a tournament's a tournament, right? Like Ash lost to like AB and BAM and like whatever's. You get the idea. And I think they were better represented in OHN in that sense. I felt Ash did pretty well.
Yeah, so let's just talk about the overall results first. So Ferry, no surprise, first. Tone Barone, aka Cal, second. Sarah,
you say no surprise, but like for a moment there, I thought he might lose. Like a very short, like maybe the start, like the very, very early moment.
Oh, the first like 15 seconds before that first round ended.
Oh man, that was such a demolishing.
That was such a classic example of just sometimes this happens. In Guilty Gear, sometimes it do be like this.
Okay. Where was I? Yeah, okay, so yeah, Seraph third, Ash fourth, Audacity fifth with Risky, and tied seventh to eighth with Forte and Mercy. I think the top 8 was expected to be that, I guess. Not in that particular order, but I think those were the 8 strongest players. Yeah?
Pretty much. Giggles has barely played the game.
Yeah.
SA gave up on Xrd quite a long time ago now.
I mean, I had high hopes for Giggles.
I know what Giggles has been playing, so I didn't.
Yep. Yeah, Giggles
So-
just a bit of Marvel and a bit of Eunice every now and then, so...
So is Ashu mostly playing locally, or is he playing mostly online?
Both. I think Ash has the best attendance rate.
Yeah, that's
all
the
of us
key.
in terms of
That's the key, is that Ashu's just playing the game constantly.
yeah.
And you play it a lot, you'll learn stuff, and you'll develop good habits and get them in your hands. And that's what's really paying off for him. A good example of dedication eventually bringing bounty.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is like he mainly just plays Guilty Gear. He doesn't really play any other fighting game.
Yeah.
Certainly helps.
Any last thoughts, Javi? Did you need to go now, or?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, like, I mean, there's always some flex room if you guys want to say something. But I'm glad Ash's hard work. He puts a lot of time and effort and whatnot into Guilty Gear, so I'm glad to see that finally pay off for him. I was hoping it would pay off in BAM, but he was a bit disappointed with BAM. Um, was and the funny thing is, it was AB who caused the upset, right? So I'm like, AB doing his job. He did a quite good job in Blaze Blue as well, because he beat Rag, and then like for the entire time, Rag was just like worried about how to beat AB again.
all right. Well, we have JD on the line to come in once you drop out,
Oh,
Javi.
tag, yes,
yeah,
yes,
so we'll tag you
tag.
out. Do you have any last comments about OHN or the tournaments or whatever?
Not really. The only thing on my mind moment is like Javi JD is a great tag team.
All right. Well,
That's all.
thanks for your guest appearance, and we'll tag JD in. I'm pretty sure he knows which Discord channel this is being streamed on. I might just have to ping him. But yeah, enjoy work tomorrow. And are you planning going to Big Cheese or anything like that?
A bit 50-50 at the moment in Big Cheese.
Just depending on work, I
Um,
guess.
yeah, because I'm not quite sure how our work is looking at the moment.
All right, cool.
All right,
Yeah, so we'll see you. Bye bye.
bye bye.
All right, JD, test your mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Let me just put you up slightly, unless you want to
Okay.
adjust it yourself.
It should be higher now.
Yeah, that's better. No, I don't want to do that.
This is as light as I can go.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can just turn you down a bit. Did you want to talk about Guilty at all?
I guess I could. I'm not sure I'm the most qualified to do so. What do you mean, like how the bracket run and everything?
Yeah, like, what are your thoughts on how the bracket was run, how the results turned out, etc., etc.?
The results. I mean, it's crazy that Ash beat Audacity. That was insane.
Yeah, did anyone actually catch that game? Because I
No,
was
it
away
was off stream.
setting up stuff for Melty, so
It was off stream. I didn't know what happened until like after the after the bracket was over.
yeah.
But no, nobody really caught it. It was off stream as well. But anyway.
Yeah, I think they were doing a bit of like the top 8, so everyone was watching the stage stuff. So yeah, I think honestly, I think everyone just gave that game to like Audacity, so no one really bothered to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, Audacity's got this easy, and then Ash is like, no. But he plays TD Kinetic a lot at home. Like he's really confident in that matchup. So
Yeah, sad Brad didn't want to come, but
yeah.
yeah, I had to talk with him about it. He's like, nah, Bam's the big one. Got to go to Bam only. And always, he always comes up to Sydney like every 3 months or so for work. So see him quite often.
Okay.
Comes
from Queensland, which is interesting.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on Guilty, or should I move on to not cross tag, Central Fiction?
Something else about Guilty.
Yep.
Tony played really well. Like Tony sending Ferry into losers was like, whoa, like this is like a game, right? Because everyone was like, oh, Ferry's got the event, right? But then Tony sent him into losers, and it was unexpected, right?
Yeah, but I guess it's nice that Tony sent him to losers, but everyone's just going to talk about how quickly Ferry demolished him with the bracket reset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Crazy.
Ferry's that kind of player. He can make adjustments like that. He's really calm.
For sure.
Apparently, Tony wasn't playing too well because
of Stream Monsters.
Well, not just Stream Monsters, but it's easy to get distracted when you know audio.
Yeah, absolutely. But we already talked about the audio stuff earlier in the podcast, so
yeah.
Won't really go back into that.
Fair.
Nothing you want to add to that, Pichy? Is Pichy dead?
Pichy might be dead.
A. All right. Oh, I heard an unmute. Nope. Never mind. It's just me.
No. I should be here. I should be here. Am I here now? I should
Yes,
be
you are here.
Yes,
What
your
happened?
audio.
No, I did the thing.
Okay.
I did the automatically power off my condenser thing again. The
Okay.
classic.
So
Because as you may know, having now seen it, the XLR condenser I use is one for ADR work in film.
Yeah, it does look very
Where I
fancy.
just use the native audio output functions that it has to just pipe out some 3.5mm audio. But I have to prime it into a pre-record state in order to keep it from powering off, because it's designed to be used on location shoots. Anyway, so thoughts on Guilty Gear Xrd. Tony is one of the people from Queensland who genuinely enjoys Xrd, and so rather than sitting in a Discord complaining about the game or making snide comments from the sidelines, he just goes and plays the game, and we see that he's been getting better and better and better at this game, and he's climbing those mountains, and it's really cool to see. The other thing is, of course, that Ferry, there's a lot of jokes, there's a lot of mimetic content as far as Ferry being the greatest Guilty Gear player in Australia of all time, blah, 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 blah. And he has a very different approach to, say, Audacity, whereas Audacity is very good because he's playing a strong character. Audacity is very good at playing a very patient Street Fighter style. He forces you to play to his pace. Whereas Ferry is so good at situational knowledge, matchup knowledge, grinding out specific punishes and setups, and putting together all the pieces of a puzzle for each matchup. And we saw that in the adjustments that he made in that grand final run back. And talking to him afterwards, there was a lot of very specific situations where he was going, okay, so what you do against Jacko is if you're blocking and you see a punch come out, then you just push punch right back. And if they're doing an airtight string, then your punch doesn't come out. If it's a tick throw, then your punch comes out and beats Jacko's command throw. And then you get a combo and you get to make her die. And that sort of thing gets blown up by just your good old-fashioned Street Fighter style frame traps. But you need to then have the presence of mind to think, okay, I need to switch it up from going through my canned approaches that normally work of block string into high-low or tick throw. I need to go, okay, I need to actually go to that extra layer. And Tony's not quite at the point of switching up the layers that he operates on, whereas Ferry is extremely good at doing that sort of thing. There was points where, Ferry was doing backdash punishes on my throw attempts in the Fate Unlimited code sets after, and I was just, man, I hate playing this guy.
Yeah, it does
I was so impatient in that grand final, because I made the adjustment. I guess I'm now transitioning to Fate Unlimited codes, which was basically a free bracket to everyone except for me and Ferry, which is cool because we're the ones who know the most about that game. Ferry beat me by, again, being that smarter player and making the adjustments and having better reactions, because I realized in that grand final that Ferry had remembered, because due to him being in that Guilty Gear top 8, he meant that all his matches were the only remaining matches left to complete in that bracket. We had gone all the way through Winners Final without him. So that meant he got 6 games in a row of just beating up moving training dummies, remembering all the knowledge, which certainly helped him a lot. But even so, I realized during the grand final that he had forgotten that Lancer has an instant overhead that beats lows and throws and is extremely bullshit. But he'd forgotten that Lancer had that. So I just realized I could just down back here in the corner and wait for him to get impatient, and then I just do low jab, and then I get my Kyrie combo. Because I was playing, it was way more comfortable to use Kyrie against Lancer than, say, Veralta. And then it's just, I'll just down back and tech all the throws, but my reactions were really shit, and was being really impatient, so I kept botching all my throw breaks and then getting killed that way. But that grand final is really fun. You should watch that grand final. It's on my YouTube channel now.
Ferry did mention the instant overhead a little bit afterwards. He said that the conversion was just too hard, so it didn't bother.
Yeah, it's jump A quarter forward C. It sometimes works. It's character specific whether it works natively on crouching opponents. But on counter hit, it's guaranteed. You just get a million years of tech time. But the thing is, even just doing it raw without comboing off of it, it then puts that extra layer of stress on your opponent of, shit, I can't down back anymore. What's going to happen now? He's going to open me up. He's going to be open up. And that's what gives those flinches which is how you really die in fighting games, just like any other facet of life that's stressful, like, say, driving. You don't die in driving all the time. You die in driving when someone flinches.
And I guess we can use that to transition to talk about DIY, I guess, before we go on to CF and Eunice, I guess. Just in the middle. Is that all right with everyone? Because I do want to talk with JD about Soku and how that went for him. So let's just go through all of the ones that Pichy / Melty.
Okay, let's talk about myself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about me, my favorite topic. So, I have a tendency to operate in very intense bursts of creative and manic energy. And when I'm in a professional capacity, I tend to overwork myself very easily. And this was I'm currently, strictly speaking, on a sabbatical from TOing things locally because I need time to recharge because I'm going through some really serious events work burnout. But I saw the DIY is just run things in the area, and it's a 24-hour venue. And my brain, seeing that, immediately went, sweet, that means I can run like 12 poverty games. See who joins them. This totally won't be damaging to my health. And I'm really happy with the way that through the course of iterating on those drafts that you saw I was posting in the Discord, that was very much a process of me reassessing which ones are people going to likely to do, which ones are going to be logistically a headache for me as far as bringing gear over to OHN, and which ones are realistically going to be entered. And finally, so it went down from my first idea was 12, my first published idea was 8, maybe 9, I think it was 8 though. And the final product was I ran 2 games to completion, and Soku and Melty were collaborations, and I'll put a pin on that. I'll get into that.
Yeah. In terms
Plus,
of
that didn't happen. I was sad. I was pretty happy with Vampire. Like,
yeah,
this was a good example of how OHN has way less entrants than BAM at the moment, because BAM was a 20-person bracket and OHN was about 9 people for Vampire, and that's fine. It's a slightly smaller event, wasn't quite the right crew. Things have changed now that Sketch has left. But certainly, Tony and Magula Chubb played really, really good games. My hands weren't too bad this time, so I actually did some half-decent Sasquatch things. I really need to get back into playing that game so I can be smarter with my Sasquatch.
Yeah, when I saw the results, I was really surprised that Magula beat Tony in that, was it winners semis or winners finals, I guess.
Winners finals.
Yeah. So I guess Magula's doing his work in the game. But
he's doing work, and yeah. Dimitri B is very stressful for B because B has to actually play smart. B can't just instant air dash in all day. It's like, okay, you've got to actually be at the exact right spacing that all the Dimitri DPs whiff, and you also get a punish on them. Because if you're in the wrong position, you either get hit, or it whiffs, but then you can't punish him, and he just does it again.
Yeah. Magula Chubb is very good at inputting DPs, I'll give you that much.
Oh boy, yeah, that's so true. Nothing else from VSAF that we can talk about, I guess.
Vampire ran, and it's good. Check out Vampire. It's okay on Fightcade, and the console ports are freaking great.
And yeah, like VSAF gets quite a turnout at BAM, so it's good to see the community show up for a bit of the community at least show up for OHN, and I think they try to do like a mini tournament at Sunnyside Up at the after party, but I think that got much publicity / not that many people played in it. So
don't try to get tournaments going at after parties.
Yeah, no one's gonna take it seriously.
If you're gonna have an exhibition at an after party, you need to have worked it out several hours before the after party and gotten that conversational buzz of we're gonna go to the party and do the thing.
Yeah, well,
get everyone in that mindset, because otherwise it's just there's too much sound wash. You're all too densely packed. People have got a bunch of drinks in them. It's not going to happen unless you make that extra bit of prep and that buzz.
The thing with Sunnyside Up VSAV was Nor was running the bracket, right? And it was originally going to be on like the Saturday or the Friday even, and every day it got pushed back one day because somebody couldn't come.
Yep.
And eventually got pushed back all the way after party, and like a few people went to it, but you know.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with Plus R this event, and it's okay. Missed the boat due to Soku things on getting it set up at the time I wanted, because even once the Soku things were kind of resolved, I was then in top 8 for Super Turbo. So it's, well, Guilty Gear's a blow up this time. That's fine.
Sorry that we took all that time.
Should I start with Melty or should I start with? Okay, I'll just talk about Melty from my end. This is the first time I actually ran like Melty as a tournament. In an
Yeah, what's
offline
your
setting.
history with doing events work, GTR?
Yeah, so I guess doing events work. Well, I do TO stuff for Eunice at the locals. So I've been doing that for past year and a half. I used to do melee TOing. This was like back in 2014, 15. And then I moved to Korea and I completely disappeared from the scene because obviously I was in Korea. So, so just
Doing your service?
my history with fighting games is that I entered the scene around 2012. I was actually I didn't really play the game much, but I used to hang out with the KOF guys, so like Kyokugen, Alex K,
Yep.
Azuzu / Will, all those guys. And then when I got to uni, I started hanging out with a lot of the melee guys. So obviously these names probably don't really ring a bell, but like MC, RCJ, Kunchi, all those guys, we all went to the same uni. And because I lived on campus, they would always just come over to my place and we'd just play melee. So obviously fighting games were like a side thing for me then, because there were a few fighting game guys like Ichijin, Stream Monsters, Dental Plan. Those guys also went to UNSW, so we kind of like had collab meets and stuff.
Yep.
And then after that, I moved to Korea, and obviously I did the whole year, did study
Did your
exchange
service.
there, did my StarCraft commentary there, and then moved back to Sydney to finish my degree and find a job. And then that's when I started becoming, because like a year's a very long time, and in that time a lot of the everyone's graduated, and a lot of the melee guys kind of quit or lost interest, and I lost interest as well. So I kind of like switched to playing anime, and I wasn't really much into like CF or Xrd 2. It was actually when Eunice came out. That's when I actually started getting really active into learning the game and being involved in a community. So the Melty thing is actually quite recent. I started playing it because I saw it as a game at TFC 3. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to learn 1B&B with FMA. Let's see how well I do. I got top 3, which was quite a surprise to me.
Oh, Tasmania's free at Melty.
Yeah.
They're so
Yeah, so TFC this year had Melty again, and I just like the way that the game operates. So it was like, okay, I kind of want to push for this to be played a bit more, and it's actually quite surprising because Audacity, he actually likes the game. He just doesn't net play or anything like that. He just labs and plays at locals whenever I can be bothered setting it up, and he's there. So I kind of want to keep pushing for Melty in the next foreseeable future, because I really do like the game. I want to see more people come out and play it. And yeah, I rambled on quite a bit there. But what was I supposed to be talking about? I was supposed to be talking about how the Melty tournament operated, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so let me just switch the scene. Yeah, so since it was my first tournament, I wasn't aware of many issues that would have gone wrong with Melty, such as the 4-frame lag when you're streaming on a laptop, even though Melty is a game that came out in 2007, was it?
11.
Again?
So that port came out in 2011 and was the Actress Again was the first build of Melty Blood that wasn't natively built for PCs, and Current Code is a further iteration on that.
Yeah.
Also, do you know the circumstances in which you had to buy that game initially?
This is hilarious.
So the home release of Melty Blood Actress Again Current Code 1.7 was originally if you bought the special edition Volume 2 Blu-ray of Carnival Phantasm. That is the only way you could buy it until the Steam release.
Oh. So I guess that that's pretty rare, right? To get the Volume 2.
Yeah, it's a bitch to get.
Oh boy, yeah. But do you know timeline of when like the community edition came out then?
So there has been a very long modding history of Melty Blood. Like React had the first build of what was called at the time NB Caster. Caster has become this catch-all term in a lot of game circles for meaning fan-made netplay thing. The name it was the name that the developer of the Melty Blood React netplay mod named his netplay mod. Just I have called it caster.exe. And that name's just kind of stuck around. But there's been a succession of modders, because there was a Japanese guy who made those first builds of Caster. Then Immaterial and Missing Power legend Mauve worked on the Caster builds, the builds of that program for Cadenza, as well as Akatsuki Blitzkampf and IAMP. And he then stepped away from that sort of thing because he didn't want to have to deal with Dolgen programming ever again. And then a programmer called Mr. Scientist, I think the handle he goes by wound up taking over and fiddling around with implementing rollbacks into current code to make the current mod that exists. And yeah, piracy was extremely rampant of that build because unlike Cadenza, which was really quite easy to buy, initially through Pallet Web, there was a time Play Asia had some in stock. It was very easy to buy Cadenza's PC port. But since current code was so hard to get, it became very, very rampant to pirate. And then Mr. Scientist just kept adding on features to the netplay build to do things like better input config. That's particularly important because the native input configuring tools were bad in current code, and the Steam versions are also quite janky. So it was about overhauling the input scheme to work like it did in all the previous builds of Melty Blood and a bunch of stuff like. But yeah, PC games are a bitch to run.
Oh yeah, I learnt that the hard way on
Mhm.
Sunday, and I think JD learned it the hard way too. But
Yeah.
I do want to give my thanks while you're here for rescuing somewhat of the stream, even though the audio wasn't working.
Yeah, that
just
happens
knowing about
sometimes.
all these issues is just nice to know for future events that yes, I do actually need to get a capture card and do
Yes.
a dual PC setup if I want to stream without lag for players. So,
Yes.
and then obviously all the audio issues, I'm pretty sure they can be ironed out in the future.
There are many things that could have done that. Like there was an OBS update that day that might have caused it.
Yeah, like one slight update and everything could go wrong. But if I may talk about the tournament real quickly, obviously the losers final, losers semi, and grand finals, they were a bit jank because we had to we had to rush Pichy, Cheetah B, and Seraph to the unit stage because in my great mind I thought it'd be nice to delay the tournament 90 minutes because I wanted to get lunch and everyone else wanted to take a break from Guilty Gear, which is, I mean, in hindsight, I was like, whatever, I don't really care about this tournament too much. I like the tournament to be ran, but it didn't really bother me that all these things happened because I did understand that the main games on stage had priority over this little Melty Blood tournament. Pidgey, what do you think about the skill levels of the players that you saw?
There are people in the Melty Blood Oceanic area Discord who have gotten very good at the game, and none of those people were in attendance. I am extremely washed up at that game, and I was never that good to begin with. And I think honestly that I was still a better player than Seraph and Chibity. I jobbed myself out because I needed to get to Unist finals in the Chibity match because we'd started the game and then I got the call from Fiery saying we need to get to the stage now. So it's just might as well just if you're going to keep running the bracket, I'll just lose here without officially DQing myself. I'll just let him get his warm ups in, and then I'll walk off. But
Right.
so it's like the skill level's not too great. Like Audacity is playing the game, but he's not really grinding stuff out. He's not doing anything close to the optimal Vyakiha combos, which is important because Vyakiha is entirely an all or nothing glass cannon character. You want to be doing 6k with her, or else you might as well just play regular Akiha and get the same sort of damage that he's doing, but you have twice the health to work with and better Rocky.
Yeah, I do feel that.
So, these people are all very new at the game, and that's cool.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm trying to do is that I wanna convince these netplay warriors. Spirits Unite, for example. I've never seen he apparently lives in Sydney, and I've never seen him come to any sort of local at all. And he decided to come for 2 or 3 on Saturday, and he came for Melty on Sunday. And that's what I want from running these offline Melty tournaments, is seeing all these players that play net play online come and actually test themselves in person against other players live, because net play is great and all, but the real competition is offline.
Always. Certainly, Melty Blood is very much a game which, thanks to the modding, it now has good, genuinely great net code. So there are people who are out there grinding the game in our region, and getting them to come up will really help elevate and really bridge that connection between the people who've got the skill set and need to develop the social connections versus the people who've got the connections but need to actually learn the game. So the more we can bridge them together, the better it's going to be for everyone, because Melty Blood's a great game.
Absolutely, and I am interested in flying over to New Zealand, not this year, possibly next year, because I know there's a huge net play contingent for Melty in New Zealand. So it would, like, the dream would be maybe to have some of those New Zealand players fly over for maybe a BAM, because BAM is Australia's largest.
It's the big one.
Yeah, it's the big one. Yeah, so I don't mind adding money. Like, I gave away a $50 pop bonus because I just wanted people interested in entering. So maybe that's something I'll be working and thinking about for BAM next year. And I know a lot of the Melbourne guys want to start doing local Melty games. JD, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Do you just want to talk quickly about how, like, Frank and that want to do, like...
Yeah, Frank, Tomo, and myself, a few people, and Silent even, a few people in Melbourne have picked up interest in Melty lately. Even Javi expressed some interest, and I'm not sure how the offline brackets...
Javi played Actress again, from memory.
Okay, well,
he was in that bracket when Nerk won the Miku figure at BAM in, like, 2011.
In that case, he seems interested in picking it up again. But yeah, there's a bit of momentum for that game right now, and even I'm on board with it. So I'm not sure how brackets are looking. I won't have any part in managing or anything, but if that does happen, then all the greatest, right?
Yeah, and obviously SA, you got Pichy and Nerk. I'm actually excited for Big Cheese, so I can grind all those games with Nerk offline, and you as well, Pichy. Talk about the game as well, because I'm personally, for me, I'm not really a person who likes to play net play. I just feel that's not really what fighting games are about. I feel like fighting games are like your next to your opponent, or you're near your opponent.
Yeah, heckling him.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of that's what fighting games are to me. So really excited for it.
Do you ever net play while in a chat with someone?
I've done it before. It's just not the same to me.
Coolo.
Yeah.
That visceral feel, knowing that person next to you is frowning because you're in their head.
Yeah, I know, because there's that psychological aspect that you completely miss playing on net play as opposed to playing offline. So, moving on from Melty, JD, do you want to talk about Soku?
Do I want to talk about Soku? That's a good question.
Can I talk about Soku?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was actually quite a bit miffed with things to begin with. So you might recall that I was fairly quiet throughout that whole process of getting things run.
Yes.
And it's because I was under the impression from the way that PR had gone out and the like that it would be okay. So I'll operate and man the stream in the way that I conduct streams, and my priority is always visibility of the video, then overlay, then audio mix and commentary, and then player cams is my last priority, because particularly in smaller communities, there are people who might not necessarily want to have their face on the internet in a broadcast. And so you rock up with the setups, and I'm going to get them plugged into my capture gear and get going, and then suddenly I'm getting told, no, actually, we're doing it all through this one YouTube stream account, and we're doing it off this one computer that's also that's also a tournament setup, and everything's all this gigantic mess. And I'm like, okay, it seems like you're trying to conduct the stream in the bracket, GTR is trying to conduct the stream in the bracket, and I thought that I was supposed to be conducting the stream. So it's just, okay, looks like this is a case of too many cooks. There's this long-running gag in events work that every single post-mortem report will have communication needs to be improved as the first note on every report. And so it's just, okay, yeah, there was some miscommunication here. I'm going to sit back. This one's probably going to blow up, but like, it's probably going to be good for you to learn from it blowing up.
Oh, yeah,
And I don't want to be kicking up a fight here and causing some tensions here, which don't really need to be created.
Well, this is it's a valid feedback, and I'm pretty sure for both me and JD, well, for me personally, it was the first time I've actually used like laptop, like PCs, in that sort of setting. So like, and I personally don't play Soku at all, so I'm not really familiar with how the game operates. I literally just was like, okay, JD, you get 2 setups. You have to figure everything out yourself. That was my mindset going into it. But you know, there's that TO in me. It's like, oh shit's happening. I gotta come and help out. Oh, what's up? What's the issue? Blah blah blah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you guys don't have to feel like, what's the word, blamed at all or anything. Like, at the end of the day, it all went on me, and beyond that, like, nothing even really fell on me. Like, apart from what you just said, Pichy, obviously the bracket ran awfully. But apart from what you just said, then haven't really heard any negative feedback about how it ran or people who weren't too happy with it.
On a user end, everyone's going to be fine. This was my desire for perfection, which is actually an anxiety trigger for me.
Mm-hmm.
We're kicking in, so it's okay. I need to step away from this and not care about it, or else I'm probably going to have a meltdown right now.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, coming into the event, running the stream was like, how do I word it? It's like I've like never run a stream from that, like from a local event before, right? Like I've never like been there and had to like logistically figure out all the cables and everything.
Yeah, it's
so
very
my perspective
different to doing an at play tournament.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's the bracket as a whole thing. Like, I was aware the whole thing was going to be different, but I came in knowing that running the stream would be like something outside of my grasp. And when I sat down and actually started talking to people and figuring out what to do, like, it's like I didn't exactly know who to follow between you and GTR.
Yep.
So I just kind of like there was both simultaneously there was compromise between both of you, and me just saying no, we'll do it this way, right? So I do appreciate you standing back and fixing that problem. Even because like when you stood back and said, yeah, we'll just do it that way, it did make it simpler just to get something happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it did fall apart due to that later. But as you said, there's been plenty to learn from that, right?
I mean, it's always good to have those sort of experiences when you're just a fresh TO / stream setup guy. You always learn from your mistakes, and I personally learned a lot from what happened on that Sunday, and yeah,
I always maintain my motto when it comes to events work is it's perfectly fine to make mistakes. The trick is you make different ones each year.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, as Pichy said, JD, like you said, no one was really complaining that much about how it was ran.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, like, after the event, like, all the 12.3 people were like all the dedicated 12.3 people, right? Like Windy and Steel, and you still didn't even participate, and Yang and all those. Like, they were telling me over dinner, like, how much fun they had and how great it was. And I'm like, why? Like, this is just like,
because they got the bracket game in a group at a big thing.
I know, but like the scope of the bracket was like you could have done this at a monthly, right? Like if all the New South Wales guys just showed up to a New South Wales monthly and they ran that, like they'd have it and they just go and have dinner after. And it's like they don't realize how closely they are experiencing that.
Yeah, and that's exactly how Skullgirls operates in Sydney. Is that they bring their own setups, they do their own tournament, they hang out after, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In terms of results, do you want to talk about anything? No surprises, blah blah blah.
There wasn't. I mean, Wendy sending me to losers was a bit of a surprise, I guess. But even though there was no real upsets or surprises in the games, they did get really tense. Which one?
okay, I have literally not touched that game in 6.5 years, and I still got what, 5th?
Oh yeah, Pichy did really well actually. That was sick. Yeah. Who did you beat? You beat Spirits Unite, Gaijin Weeb by DQ, and Shop. I reckon you could take Spirits Unite. Spirits Unite's the only one that you could really call an upset in quotation marks. And even then, still, that was, yeah. I was very happy to see you play again, and I was really happy to see Javi play, and he didn't get DQ'd either.
Now, would you agree that my play style is Phantasm to you?
If you perfected it, it would be.
Part of the
What's the
reason
word?
I stopped playing that
It would be
game
Cosmic
is
Horror.
because my main training partner was Nurk, and we both play that game the same way. So it's
Oh
just
no.
15 minutes for a single round.
Yep. The power.
Man, can we play something else? I could have gotten games of Jaipur in the time it takes to do a single game of this.
Yeah, it's interesting. What you said about learning is really important. There was definitely there was definitely 2 or 3 hours running that bracket where I was saying to myself over and over again, "There's no fucking way I'm ever doing this again." But then, after it was all done and everything, it's like, yeah, all right, I'll
See
do
the
it.
smiles on the faces.
Yeah, everyone's having despite everything falling apart, everyone's having a good time, and
I think
really,
that's what ultimately brings you the TOs back to running a tournament. Is that they just want to make people happy by playing a game that they like, and that's why you always come. That's for me personally. That's why I keep coming back. Is that I just want to run the game that I love, or run the games that I love, and see people happy that they can play these games that they love in a tournament setting.
Spirits Unite and Zedai helped a lot. So I just want to mention that what they did made it a lot easier to quell the fires.
All right. Let's move on to. Okay, I think that's it.
Actually, I've got some other comments on soccer.
Go ahead.
Because the process of it all was making me think a lot about the logistics of running soccer, and I was starting to think up of various potential methods of conducting an offline tournament that might be worth experimenting with.
All right, I've got a lot of ideas too.
As far as reducing points of failure in terms of stream setups and the like. So
Absolutely.
I was thinking, I was starting to think of, okay, maybe we should need to start constructing, having a couple of laptops which are rigged up to a local area network, and the third laptop, which will be the capture for the stream or conducting the stream, will join that LAN game as an observer and watch it, and crazy things like that started flowing through my head.
I really think that's the only real way to handle a 12.3 tournament. That's what they do in Japan.
Oh, they do it that way in Japan? Cool.
Yeah. In Japan, they just they connect to LAN and exactly, just connect to LAN because
that reduces the point of failure, which is multiple keyboards.
Not just multiple keyboards, multiple controllers, which don't because if you have one controller that doesn't output left stick, you can go, all right, we'll just expatter the pad and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have two, you can't both send them through expatter, right? Or join a key or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you haven't connected through LAN, you can do that. It's actually quite simple.
Yeah, because that game is made by, not only is it a Dojin game from the mid to late noughts, which is always a bad time.
It was 2010.
Twilight Frontier in specific are really bad programmers. Have you ever tried playing Higurashi Daybreak?
I haven't.
You can't. You cannot play that game unless you have a machine running on Windows 2000. You can't backwards compatibility it. You have to have a copy of Windows 2000 with the exact right video card types, and possibly the right build of DirectX as well.
We came into a lot of compatibility issues. The game was I know everyone here in this chat already knows this, but God, the game was crashing because there weren't headphones plugged.
Oh, direct sound failure.
I think that was primarily a NUC issue, maybe. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I mean, I in hindsight, running it on a NUC is probably not a great idea. I had a laptop I brought that I know works, but then when I heard that there's 2 setups over there, I was like, okay, no problem. We'll just use those 2 setups.
In my experience, activating full screen quite often sets off the direct sound issues as well. And that's why I was very big on pushing for borderless windowed full screens. Because then you're just running at a window which has been stretched out to the right resolution anyway.
Yeah.
And you don't have to deal with full screens, which on a capture card end is also way better because it doesn't cause those resets of the flow of the capture card, which can sometimes blow up a stream, as we saw with Melty Blood on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'll look into for Melty, because I think playing Melty in Window, there's a bit of jank to it, pretty like from memory. So I know
There's
even
always
same
jank with Melty.
Yeah.
For a long time, we had to make sure that the resolution was at a specific setting, because otherwise it would put an input lag.
Oh yeah, I purposely set my monitors to 720p because I was that scared that there was going to be some sort of like input lag from having a 1080p screen.
But yeah, 640 by 480 and use borderless full screen, I think, actually does remove all the lag.
I mean, the that's for Melty. At least for 12.3, I think running in full screen should be fine. If you connect by LAN is what I'm saying.
Oh, by LAN, it's fine.
Yeah, by LAN, and then you just have a third person connect.
I mean, to get the LAN set up, all we need is just like a switch, right?
Yeah, or a crossover cable.
Yeah.
So a switch would be better, so that way you can have an observer set up.
Yeah, we're not
from my
talking about Nintendo Switch, by the way. We're talking about LAN switch.
So in my perspective, I actually have no idea how a local LAN setup would work. Would you just connect them all to a router?
Just auto a LAN switch.
Okay, interesting. But then the problem with that is you need like 4 setups.
Yeah, that's right. That's the obnoxious part of it, is you need
Yeah.
way more laptops.
And like from my perspective,
Communities have laptops. It should be doable these days.
yeah, sure. But from my perspective, like, sure, I can supply 4 laptops, but I can't fly 4 laptops to South Australia or New South Wales, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I could have my 4 laptops at BAM. Like it's an investment I don't have to make once.
Yeah, and
But-
that's where the community comes in, and they have to, put their hand up and say, "Hey,
That's-
I'll help out."
That's true, but with 12.3 and with laptops in general, it's like different laptops have different lag settings, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
like
the issue. That's
that-
the main issue.
that's a problem as well. And like, what do you do if you get a laptop with like you get a laptop and you get there on the day and like you realize, oh, this has got an awful ghosting problem or whatever, and like people just don't feel comfortable playing on different setups. I know
that's something which is consistent with laptops, and that the solution there is you output to monitors, and that way you've got a consistent input delay situation.
Yeah, but
really,
now
you can just do that. Okay.
Laptops can usually output to monitors.
Okay. I know they could, but like I wasn't sure how it would deal with the input lag, right?
Well, you're going to be using the refresh rate of the monitor rather than that of the laptop.
But then the issue is that you got to provide the monitors, so it's a big logistic mess all around.
Mm-hmm. And that's why,
think
that
at
is
least
why TOs don't use PC as their default platform. Even when, say, the PC version of Tekken 7 is a billion times better than the console versions.
I think that I can only speak for Victoria. I'm not sure about New South Wales or South Australia, but getting 4 monitors at any of our events isn't really a big problem. For
Couch Warriors has 5 billion monitors.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've always got some at back you can use, right?
And I've got my 2 AOYOs now.
The bigger problem than monitors even, I think, would just be the space it takes up.
Yeah, and that's something you got to deal with.
Yeah. I might try running a few Couch Warrior monthlies to get more experience with it, and I mean, hopefully New South Wales 12.3 can start showing up to meets too, and I know South Australia has had something running once, right? Like people showed up to evac.
Oh, there was an evac where a bunch of people were, hey, let's get some soccer going, and we got Chef MKT to turn up.
I know. Oh god, I so
Chef
hope.
only leaves the house once a year, which means he won't come to Big Cheese if we run soccer there.
Nah, man. If Chef doesn't come to Big Cheese, I will kill him. I'll find where he lives and kill him.
Well, that's on stream, so if he doesn't come, we'll have to go kill him.
Absolutely. I'll get GDL to back me up. He's got connections.
What? Yeah. Any last thoughts on DIY, Pichy? Like, any thoughts on how it could have been ran better or anything like that?
No, mine ran to an acceptable standard for myself. Though there were a couple of other... So it's like some of the other games that I'd potentially had, like Chaos Breaker, didn't happen because literally no one wanted to play it. Plus R was a block. Plus R didn't happen, and sometimes it just happens. I was quite happy that I managed to pare it down from potentially 12 to 2 games. That was much better for me health-wise. As a tie-in, I guess I can tie this up with thoughts on 24-hour venue, which is that there are specific events in America which have really good 24-hour venue situation. Those being Community Effort Orlando / CEO Taku and the former UFGT, now called Combo Breaker. And they're in Chicago and Orlando / Daytona, so they're good party locations which have a lot of people in them. But also, 24 hours being able to be strong there because people have really gotten in the habit of it being a thing. And OHN is a smaller event than BAM now. And so really building up the attendance and getting people used to the idea of 24-hour means that in the years to come, if it continues to happen, we can continue to then go, hey, maybe we're going to have a night shift where just some real weird games do happen at nighttime. But otherwise, my final thought on 24-hour venue is that not having that mental pressure of we got to get stuff finished by 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. on a tournament side, or I've got to go home, I've got to go leave the venue now because they're about to get kicked out. No, we can leave when we want to, and we can just hang and chat for a while. If that's what we want to do, I can talk with Kyok again while playing Sam's show until 3 in the morning when I go to sleep. That felt really nice. Like, having it, knowing that there's that leeway until about 4 a.m., that was great.
And JD, you stayed till like 4 a.m. on that. Was it the Friday or the Saturday?
Stayed all night, man. All night.
On Saturday, I stayed until 5 o'clock in the morning after. Oh, not 5 o'clock in the morning after. I mean, like that's when I didn't go home Saturday.
Okay.
I was running until the venue closed, and then I went home and had a shower, and then went to karaoke.
We'll wrap up the podcast with karaoke, but we'll do that a bit later. For me personally, I do like the idea of 24-hour venue. But for me personally, it kind of sucks because I live maybe half an hour away by public transport, and as we all know, Australian transport isn't 24 hours, and I don't have a car, so I couldn't really fully utilize it. I think the best way of utilizing a 24-hour venue is that you have like some sort of accommodation or attached to the venue, which it did, but Fiery went on about how we couldn't get like hotel rooms on a discount for this year. Maybe it's being looked into next year, I'm not too sure.
It might come with the establishment of relationship, but like I said on that show, like there's no real impetus for the Bankstown Sports Club to be offering deals because they already sell out all their rooms all the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Although I was surprised that there were Airbnb options around the venue. And JD, didn't you say that a lot of fighting game players stayed in the same like building as you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a 5 minutes walk from the venue, there were these two huge, these big Airbnb like apartment blocks. And what we did, what all of the Vic people did is they just they rented out 2 rooms and they had 8 people across them, and then anybody wants to come over can just come over, right? And then people were playing up until like 5 o'clock in the morning on every day, pretty much, right? And as the weekend went on, we caught wind of more and more people in those apartment blocks. Like Sunday night, I ran into Tez, who was on his way home at 9 p.m. Because he was staying with some Smash people on the bottom floor. I'm like, wow, didn't know you were here. I didn't know there were Smash people here. And I think if OHN could liaise with with the people who are in that particular place, it could be successful for next year.
Yeah, I think the issue with Airbnbs is that I'm pretty sure multiple different people like own different rooms in that building. So
Oh yes, because Airbnb is that sweet gig economy. Oh
yeah,
no,
really? Because it seemed like a full on like hotel apartment place, right?
That's an apartment complex, but it's going to have individual owners of apartments.
Okay.
Because it's Airbnb.
Yeah.
I know there's one in Victoria. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but this was where my understanding came from. But there's one in Victoria which is all owned by one, not one guy, but like a family of people who rent them out just on Airbnb for the extra publicity.
All right.
But anyway, moving
Yeah.
on.
Let's move on. Should we?
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, on accommodation, let me tell you a story about the Marvel boys.
The SA
Because
Marvel guys.
yeah, so the SA Marvel squad is very much a group of people, and they pretty much all stayed together in one of those apartments. And they all had a flight, except for Giggles, who had my flight time. The bulk of them had a 6 a.m. on Monday morning flight to get to. And so their plan was after karaoke, okay, we'll just all stay up late, and then we'll go to the airport, and then we'll sleep on the flight. Except they had completely misjudged the time it takes by train to get to Sydney Airport, and so they all missed the flight and had to postpone it to the following day.
Oh,
Which meant their solution was, well, we're at the airport now and we don't feel like spending money, so we're going to find a corner in one of the gates which has a bunch of PowerPoints, and we'll just play Marvel for 24 hours until it's our flight.
God, no.
So I hung around and played some Marvel while waiting for my flight to happen on the Monday afternoon.
Wow. That's pretty funny actually. So they just sat there until the next day, and just play Marvel.
Well, they tried to sleep at points,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty much the game.
Oh. Yeah. Let's move on since we've been doing this for 80 minutes or so.
It's an old game. It's time to move on.
Yeah. Let's talk about Central Fiction real quickly.
Rip in peace, Giggles.
Rip in peace, Giggles. Two things I really want to talk about in this bracket. So Lag Wizard flew up to Sydney just for CF. He's one of the better netplay players on the Discord. He lost to Awaken Being. Sorry, no, he didn't lose that way. Sorry, he lost to Nor. This result 2-1. In his first match, which was a huge surprise. So that was the first thing I want to mention. The second thing I want to mention was Ragyo. He lost 1-2 to Waken Being. That was that was actually quite an intense match. Besides that, huge shout outs to Jeese. He made top 4. Oh, sorry, he made top 3. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Jeese, former Smash player. He moved to playing BB with us, and he loves the game, so he just grinds it a lot with Gaijin Weeb and all those guys. So huge shout outs to Jeese for getting third.
Shout outs to Jeese for being one of the only people who stayed until like 6 a.m. with me and Fire.
Yeah, Jeese is a pretty funny guy when he gets home as well.
He's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, any comments?
Wish I could have entered.
Yeah.
No, my comment is that I just hit 3 minutes and 8 seconds in Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past any percent. Sorry, I'm very done with Blaze Blue, so it's just I'm gonna sit back and let you get your thoughts on that game you like out.
Well,
obviously,
yeah,
I couldn't have participated because I was
you were
I was
drowning.
drowning.
Yeah.
I was drowning in 12.3, but I entered teams at least. I actually took out
teams.
Awaken Being in Central Fiction teams.
Yeah, how did teams go?
I mean, I kind of like left after I lost because Mullet Cap like convinced me into playing. Right, I wasn't really going to enter, but Mullet Cap needed me to fill out the team. I think our team lost because Giggles chewed through like 4 of them, as Giggles does, and then AB got on and defeated Giggles with Stylish Azrael, and I was up next, and I play Stylish Azrael. So me and Awakened Beings did Stylish Azrael mirrors, and some dude in the chat was getting like irrationally angry about how Stylish mode is just like Stylish players don't deserve to see the inputs that they're getting and stuff like that. But then, of course, eventually, after chewing through like 2 people, I got exposed the fraud that I am.
Actually, I think the funniest moment of the tournament was when Awakened Being was playing live on stage for top 8, and he picked Stylish Noel, and he took his name off.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, life ran it back 1-1. Giggles. How did Giggles do? He lost to Runis. That was I was expecting that. And he lost to Awakened Being. I swear there was something. Oh yeah, he lost the game to Stream Monsters against his Susanoo, which was quite surprising. But to be fair, he did come straight off from a Marathon Marvel run where he came second. So obviously,
and he lost to Ned there, so it wasn't like he even lost to an Interstater. It was just an almost entirely SA top 8.
yeah, I think it was like only KG and 257, one of the Abelos twins that got placed in that top 8 outside SA. Okay, let's move on from CF since none of us really want to talk about it. It's not really one of our games, so the big
Giggles is rusty, and when Giggles is rusty at a game, he gets a lot more impatient. And that's really what blew him up when fighting AB. Susanoo players and also AB are very much the contributing factor there, just losing that patience and that sense of control that he has when he's really focused and really in the groove from playing a lot.
This is the one that I want to talk about, one I'm most excited about. It is Unist.
Let's go silent.
Actually, let's talk about the Unist 7v7 on Friday first, because that was amazing. I'll start off with JD, since you played in it. You played in that mirror against Stream Monsters Akatsuki. And then I guess you watched the games. How do you feel it went all around?
Man, that was hype. That was so hype, man. Like, so many things happened in that have been like me versus Stream. I know people don't really see all this, but me versus Stream is like multiple majors in the making. Silent versus Dave is obviously like so many years in the making at this point. He's like the final boss to Silent. Like, you know, there's a lot of writing. I know it was just like the team tournament, it was just warming things up, but like there's a lot of energy and a lot of things riding on it. You know, like it was so hyped to have like to realize, oh, where's our 7th player? I guess it's Kyokugen. And Silent's face was like, you know, Silent's face was so indicative of how he felt in that moment.
Actually, our 7th player was supposed to be Seraph, but I don't know where Seraph went, so we're like, Dave, do you want to play? Yeah, okay, whatever.
And like the audience was all cheering for him.
Yeah, and also, I was supposed to put Hugo in the team instead of Ruse, but Hugo went for dinner, so I just got Ruse instead. Yeah.
Mate, add Ruse to anything and it adds hype.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a really great exhibition on Friday. Pichy, you have any thoughts?
I just muted myself to have a bite, but I guess that will have to be delayed. So, it was a good old fun. Watch a bunch of people yell at each other. Shame about Nor getting disowned by you guys.
Yeah.
Instead of another thing. Like, there feels like a slot where, say, another SA player could have been put in. But, I mean, I was busy getting some other setups and stuff done. And then I came up during the tail end, saw that there was a gap in the commentary, went, fine then, I'll just get on and yell a bunch of shit. Which I guess I'll use as a lead into the difference there, where I figured that the sort of presentation you want, that sort of thing, is going to be far more vibrant and color commentary driven. Whereas the vibe that Fiery and I went for in the finals commentary for Unist was very much, we were going for, I guess you could call it an esports style. But I was really trying to evoke that feeling of a professional sports cast. I was really thinking of a number of volleyball commentators that I've listened to over the years. And the way I was trying to do things, I was really trying to tell the story of some athletes competing at a high level in a sport.
Yeah,
and I think we got that sense conveyed across a couple of moments where I slipped into some weird moments of color. I got a Joker's trick joke in at one point. I did a lamb chops reference when it was the 5 billionth rep of Byakuya set play. Because, I mean, there's only so many times you can say, hey, look, he's going to do the thing where there's 3 webs, and you got to respect it. So, Hey, that was good. I was really happy with that call. So when I listened to the VOD, I was all, damn, that audio mix needed to be just a little bit tweaked.
Oh yeah. You're talking about the exhibition stage, right?
The exhibition audio isn't quite as bad a mix as the Unis
Top
finals
eight,
were.
yeah.
The finals were on top 8.
Yeah. For me personally, I wasn't really happy with how the commentary ended up. Because like the way that Dave commentates about the game, it's very technical. It's really hard for me to add in my play-by-play, and especially when you haven't really commentated very often with each other. Like we commentate together sometimes, but it's not really a thing that we work on. It was kind of hard for me to like get that chemistry with him. Like I felt like I shined the most when it was off the camera. Oh, sorry, off the games itself, and I could just talk at my own pace as opposed to following the pace of the game. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I jumped on, I just yelled and started screaming absolute drivel.
And that's what you need to do for those sort of exhibitions where it has to be mostly hype because no one's going to really care about the technical stuff. Yeah, so that was the 7v7. Silence, God. Speaking of Silent being a god, let's talk about the bracket. Let's go through pools first, see if there's any upsets. Okay, one thing I need to address is that I kind of feel bad that I had to DQ Ragyo away from winners, but I gave him the mandated 15 minutes to show up for his game. He didn't show up, so I had to DQ him down to losers. I feel like if Ragyo showed up on time,
don't feel bad, it's their
winners,
fault.
Yeah.
It's the player's responsibility to turn up to the scheduled time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not responsible for you getting there on time, and I wasn't going to put up with any sort of delay. So DQs had to happen. Looking at the results themselves from the pools, Seraph. I was surprised Seraph actually made it through top 8 in winners because I have not seen Seraph go to locals in a very long time. Not only that, he played Wagner. I thought he'd be playing Yuzu throughout the bracket, but his Wagner did a lot of work. Yeah, JD, any thoughts on Pool A, the one you're in?
Pool A. I'm not sure if I would be able to remember much because that was at the start of a very long stream of consciousness, right?
I got 0-2, but I think I went 3-2, but both my losses were to Akatsuki players.
Yeah, I did take out Pichy.
Yeah, I was playing pretty bad.
You were playing Outdom, right?
Always Outnum.
Outdom, okay.
Yeah, I was extremely impatient, and that's a consequence of my mood, and also just I haven't been playing enough. A bit of a problem I've been having locally is Nurk isn't available very much right now because he's doing his honors. And so my main people that I've had to train with, I'm the one who's the mountain that they've got to climb.
Okay.
Which means that I've got a lot of bits that I need to deprogram from my hands, as well as certain mindsets and how I'm playing defensively. And at the same time, so Giggles is the one that I can train with better, because generally speaking, I am better than Giggles at that game by quite a bit. But Giggles is playing a lot of Marvel, and at the time where he's playing Marvel, I'm then usually playing Plus R. And so by the time we actually do get a couple of games of Unison, it's when I'm really tired and not doing good things anyway. So we need to really get serious about grinding this game out again, so that I can reclaim my spot at 8th in the bracket.
It'd be really nice.
I should be getting in top 8, and I should be getting 8th in that top 8.
It would be really nice if I rekindle Unist as well, because I feel like it's one of the only games that really unites the three anime states, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Victoria and Queensland have way stronger Guilty Gear scenes. In New South Wales, my impression is there's a couple of really, really strong players, but for the most part, it's a lot more BlazBlue. But everyone has strong Unist players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nurk should be done by... Is he on his 1 year? So should be
Yeah, it's 1 year, and he's got some placements and things.
Okay.
He's also living in a spot which makes it difficult for him to get to meets right now. So hopefully, whenever we can get that resolved, then we can get more games in with him again.
Yeah. I
But
assume
like
he'll be
for the
like.
moment, I need to be practicing with Alex so he can improve, and so I can make sure that I'm always beating his head in.
I guess I should reflect on how I played. I'll be completely honest. I did not think I deserve where I placed one game off top 8. I got really lucky that people that I was supposed to be playing DQ'd because they didn't turn up on time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like playing
But you
against
are better than them because you respected the bracket.
playing against Nor. I took one like round off him. Like the weird thing about all the Hilda players, like Kimball, Nor, and Roost Cruise, they all have completely different play styles. So
Absolutely.
maybe like a week or so ago, I grinded a lot of games with Kimball, and we were actually going quite even. And then he switched to Gordo and completely mopped me up. But yeah, I was conditioned to play against a style that Kimball plays, and when you play against a Ruse or in this case Nor, it's like, oh man, it's like playing a completely different character, and it kind of throws you off. So that's how I feel about that match. The match against Rag, he's just a overall better player than me. Not gonna lie. Like I get by just doing really dumb shit with phone on and getting away with it. But when you play against players with really good fundamentals like Ragyo, they're always gonna punish you for doing for like dropping combos or getting frame trapped or whatever. So yeah, that's how I felt about my performance. What about you, JD?
I'm relatively happy with how I did. I can't really expect for myself to play anymore when I've made a point of not practicing the game over the last few months. But even despite all that, I feel like I did alright. Akatsuki in bracket is definitely something to be scared of at all points, right? So,
You get a bit impatient, then he walks all over you, and you go, "What?"
well, not just
Why did I
impatient.
hit?
You make a small mistake, and when he gets to his advantage state, it's like you've got such a hill to climb to get out of the corner. But that instability can also be part of his weakness. But character choice aside, I'm pretty happy with how I played. It would have been nice to not lose to Kimball, but it was funny. We had right next to each other. I was playing Kimball, and Stream Monsters was playing Nor. So it was like
Two Akatsuki versus Hilda games.
two Akatsuki versus two Hilda, and it's fine. It's like it's time to take Lightning Man out back, right?
Man, you should watch more Super Turbo at high level in Australia, because it just turns into a top 8 of nothing but Boxer Chun matches.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I wish I could play Super Turbo, but I'm having difficulty on my new input method.
Oh, it's easy. I just push medium punch.
Do you know who I play?
Who do you play?
I play Geef.
You play Geef? Don't do that to
On
yourself, man.
Hitbox.
Yeah, so I used to play Geef on
There's
stick.
grapplers in that game than Geef.
I used to play Geef on stick, and it was like, yeah, this is sick. I really like this character. And so I swapped to Hitbox. It's like, oh no, no.
Yeah, I play a grappler in that game. I play Chun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to Pool B. I have to give a huge shout outs to Show, the Byakuya Victorian guy.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
Victorian Street Fighter player.
He surprised me with how he played. Took a game off Ichijin, and he completely mopped up Gaijin Weeb. I've been seeing him in the anime Discord getting some net play games every now and then. I reckon if he grinds the game, and he like just trades tech with Silent, I reckon he can get a lot better by the time.
Yeah, he's
Sam
really
comes around.
solid.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really surprising. What other things are there? Forte. Forte versus Ruse was depressing to watch.
Ruse won, didn't he?
Yes.
Oof. Big oof.
Hugo, Alex K. I expected Hugo to take that actually. But I was talking with Kyokugan before the tournament started, and we agreed that Alex K is a very moody player. I guess he does really well when he's got the groove on, but when he doesn't have the groove on, he's like just doesn't really do well. So I guess he had his mojo on that weekend. nothing really else to talk about from that pool. I assume none of you guys have anything to add to what I just said.
I didn't see it because I was in the middle of Melty prep at that time.
All right.
Not to Eunice, no.
All right,
Not that, rather.
let's talk about top 8.
It was
Where should
good.
we start? Where should we start with top 8? Okay, let's just talk about Silent dropping the combo that could have won in the tournament.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, TFC2 all over again.
Man,
Ow.
like
It was me doing that in TFC2.
when he dropped it, I was like, okay, Dave's got this. He's got the game. He's got the tournament when that happened. Because
Feels bad.
yeah,
Yeah, as I saw it, it was just, okay, with the way Silent's been playing and the sort of momentum he's having, this is going to kill him. This is going to be the moment where he's going to wish he was never born. And like that is very much something, a mental state that you got to learn to deal with and process. And hey, you've climbed that. The thing is, you've climbed that mountain, so you know you can do it again.
yeah.
Silence coming out of the set. Silent was pretty well balanced actually. He was really happy with how he played.
Like Silence leveled up so much since BAM. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
And-
Well, he grinds out the game so hard.
Yeah. So
He plays Byakuya very differently to Nurk, where because Silent plays far more about the grounded game, and Byakuya has an extremely good ground game, whereas Nurk likes characters that can move around in the air. That's very much a thing he likes in fighting games in general, and so he does a lot of charge jump down C, a lot of manipulation with webs. This is what I actually think Silence Byakuya is a lot easier to defend against than Nurk's, because he's far less likely to play the shield bait game than Nurk is, because Nurk will very much condition you into, I'm going to do the air things, which you shield and you kill him. But then it's just, nope, this is actually the setup where it whiffs and then you die.
Mm-hmm.
And your grid broken, so not only are you going to go blocking the next 17 seconds till the grid cycle's done, you don't have a shield to win that grid cycle, so it's more like 34 seconds you got to be blocking for.
Silent, there's actually a lot of contention in the Victorian community about that. Silent really hates using them. He's so against it. He hates using the web swing stuff. Because in his mind, it's just all fake. He's like, no, I can't do it. It's all fake. I can't use it.
Yeah, and that's very much a way that you can mentally guard crush yourself. When you start convincing yourself in the I have no options thing, it's like, no, especially in tournaments, like, you only respect your opponent when they have earned that respect.
Yeah.
And you know what's scary about Silence's performance at OHN was that you guys don't consider Silence to be the best player in Victoria, right? You guys consider Marco to be better than him, is that right?
It's a toss-up between Marco and Snail.
Yeah, so, and Marco and Snail didn't turn up for whatever reason, so, if those, I guess the next BAM would be the biggest test to see if someone can dethrone Kyokugen.
Maybe. I mean, we've proven someone can do it.
I guess also,
he
though...
should have won it. He had the kill.
But I guess, though, the big change will be Uniclear will be out by then, so the game could be completely
Will it
changed.
be out by then?
Early
Probably.
2020.
I'd wager March.
Yeah,
That would be crazy.
yeah. So I think a lot of things will change in terms of play hierarchy and all that stuff with Uniclear coming
That
out.
really sucks because that kind of means that this was Silence's last chance to take out Kokujan on this version.
Well, what if we all come to Big Cheese? too?
Yeah.
Incoming?
I'm not sure if Kyokugen's going. I know Silence going. He expressed interest.
Okay.
But for me personally, I'm going to go Big Cheese, but I won't be going to Couch Warriors cross up.
I've already booked everything for Big Cheese, so
Yeah.
I'm going.
And I guess,
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised and really feel quite complimented by how many of the anime people seem to be really jumping in on Big Cheese, because it's the second year, and last year was pretty much was Smash plus Fate Unlimited codes, whereas but like we've been really rebuilding fighting games at SA, so yeah, come down, come join it. It's great. We're gonna run some cool stuff.
Yeah, for me,
To my perspective,
yeah,
it's my
sorry,
perspective,
go,
it's like Sunnyside. You know, it's a new event. You got to support it, right?
Hmm.
yeah, for me personally, I haven't been to Adelaide since I was a kid. Um, I wanna catch up with all the SA guys. I actually had dinner with like Giggles and all the Marvel guys like Sadiq and Ned and all that stuff. They're really cool to hang out with. So I kind of want to hang out with them in their like city. Have them show me around all the food spots, all the bars and stuff like that. Be really fun. And like I've been to Melbourne so many times that even if like if CWC's next weekend, it's like I don't see any worth in going. To be completely honest, it's just gonna feel it doesn't feel like it's worth the time or money to head over for it.
Well, I mean, it's the end of year monthly that happens to be quite a big one each year.
I
And
might
last year, the Dragon Ball World Tour qualifier was what really shook things up.
I might be hosting people for CWC. I'm not sure. We've got some space in this house, so
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. If no one else has anything to add about Eunice, I guess we can finalize with the greatest thing that comes out from OHN. Hey.
The signature karaoke.
Firstly,
Oh,
I kind of wasn't. I like was only just selling into the stream when we were talking about Guilty.
yeah. Go.
I'd
You can
just like to
talk
quickly
all you want
mention
about
that
it.
I'm really glad and really happy that I proved myself against Ichiji. I don't think I was expected to win that at all. So screw you, Fiery.
Yeah, I don't think I talked about my performance in Xrd,
Yeah, go
which
ahead.
is that we finally had the final objective proof that I am completely retired from that game.
Oh,
Which-
really?
That's the first time I've ever gone 0-2 in Guilty Gear, in any Guilty Gear.
I see.
And it's like, I do not play that game, and I do not like that game. And I spend the entirety of its life in Character Crisis, and hey, the community's finally got enough people playing the game that I go 0-2 now. And it's, hey, that's cool. There's
I
lots
feel
of
like
people
even
playing
though
this
the
game and enjoying it.
signups,
I can
feel like
move,
even
and I've moved on with my life.
I feel like even those signups weren't like they weren't like there was like 28 signups for Guilty, right? And there was like 50 or something for
29.
Eunice.
I mean, 29's still good.
No, it's a good sign-up count, sure, but even though the sign-ups weren't quite there, it was still like just about as competitive as Eunice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, before I move on to karaoke, I just want to give a huge shout out to Stream Monsters. He fucking won Ultra, and like he beat he beat like people that I've never seen him beat before in tournament. Like
Nice.
He won Street Fighter 4 Ultra.
yeah, he beat
What the
After
fuck?
Death, he beat After
Really?
Death, he beat Dilo, he beat Gengta, he beat
Beating
fucking
after
Yuto.
death is real serious business in
Yeah.
SF.
So like he beat all the legit players, and
Does he play Ultra?
yeah,
I guess so, if he'd beat after
yeah,
that.
he plays Honda.
That's crazy.
Oh man, Honda, nice.
Although I don't know if he played Honda throughout the whole tournament or.
Was there a pocket Elena and some counter picks there? That's how you
Yeah.
play there. That's how you play Ultra 4.
I mean, Stream Monsters in the chat right now.
Where is the
you
stream
can-
chat?
Stream chats on my chat channel. Yeah. Unfortunately, none of those games were streamed or recorded, so I can't watch them, unfortunately. But, yeah, okay, so you did play Honda throughout the whole tournament. But, yeah, like, big shout-outs to him for winning. I think that's the first ever, like, major he's gotten, he's taken, so...
Apparently he did play all Honda.
Yeah, he did play all Honda. Okay, but yeah, it's sick to see. One of the anime boys, one of the Sydney boys, and a guy that I've known for such a long time win a major, like a tournament at a major. Doesn't really matter what major it is, but like OHN, it's sick to see. So yeah,
Hey.
huge shout out to him.
I mean, OHN is very much traditionally a Street Fighter event. But hey, Eunice has gotten us better at Street Fighter.
Yes.
Yeah, Eunice has really taken off. It's got a lot of momentum going.
Yeah, like I reckon as more people like watch Eunice and more people tip their toes into Eunice, and hopefully next year when Uniquely comes out, it'll probably be like up there with well, not it won't be like at Tekken or NRS or Street
It's a
Fighter
long way to
levels,
get to
but
Tekken
yeah,
levels.
it's not. It's a long way to get there, but I definitely feel it'll slot nicely well below that tier. Those top three games.
Hmm. Well, internationally, you see like posters, esports posters with Hild on them and stuff, alongside Heihachi and like Ryu and all that. So
Yeah, and it's crazy that like French. It's from French bread.
it's from French bread. Like, well, like, yeah, I get what you mean. I totally get what you mean, man.
Yeah, let's talk about karaoke. JD, you're only there for a short while. What are your impressions of it?
Oh, I had a great time. I'm kind of regretful I had to leave, but that was amazing. That was so much fun, man.
Like, I think you definitely should regret it because you missed out on Fiery singing.
Everyone, like, I saw Fiery on the way out, right? He was like, "You alright?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing alright. I'm doing alright. Have fun."
Yeah, I don't remember you leaving, to be honest, but yeah, I think
Hmm.
like once it got to like 10 p.m. something like that, Fiery was like, okay, no one else is showing up. I'm just gonna just have fun and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like me personally, I just love karaoke, no matter what the event is. Whether it's with friends or doing like a bit of solo work at time to time. Yeah. Yeah, Mercy's right. Tox doing Bring Me to Life was pretty good.
Talks was so good.
So good. Yeah, I like doing the Mimi rap songs, so I did Rack City. What did you sing, Pichy?
Wuthering Heights twice in one night was too much for my voice. That's my review of karaoke.
And JD, what did JD sing? You did
Oh, let's
Eminem,
not
right?
go there.
But yeah, I did a lot of songs, but I switched to a more quiet, more personal room.
Yeah,
The,
yeah, I remember
um,
that room.
The noise and volume and intensity was just, no, I need a break from this.
Yeah.
It's been a noisy weekend. I
Yeah,
want to wind down.
The Eminem didn't happen. You hallucinated it. And then I did Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, there was that. I guess you could say it's the old people room. Well, it had like Henry.
Yeah,
and-
I hung
yeah.
out in the OG room.
Yeah,
With-
I went
with
there
my
for a
Super
bit
Turbo
to
voice.
sing a bit of a Radiohead and As Yet, and yeah, I think like the
You
thing
missed
is.
the banging duet that I had in A Whole New World with Ziggy.
Oh damn, I missed that. Damn. Next time. Yeah. Karaoke is fun. Sounded like everyone that went had fun as well. Yeah, I don't really have much to add to it. Besides, I want to do it again, and I want to sing more Japanese songs if possible. Because I think,
Yeah, the Anison selection was terrible on
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, that was really. That machine was really difficult
yeah,
to get
that
to work,
system
right?
was garbage. Like, I guess for me personally, I'm just spoiled by Sydney having like so many places with Joy Sound setups. So, yeah, those Chinese setups are pretty bad, and that's saying it nicely. But yeah, I think if you just want the really common songs, then it's there for you, and I think that's what the place is for. It's not for the niche stuff that
That I wanted to do.
yeah, that you want to do, and that what I wanted to do. So yeah, like yeah, like if we do a Japanese room, I definitely want to do Kimi no Monogatari Shiranai. Yep, by Supercell, because that's my jam.
I actually learnt a Japanese song in preparation for OHN karaoke,
Oh
and I
really?
didn't have it. I was so
What
caught.
song was it?
Nonsense Bungaku by E.
Okay, yeah, that'll definitely be in the Japanese system. So, but I guess if we're going back to that karaoke venue again, you gotta find something more mainstream, unfortunately.
Yeah, just go for the pop culture ones, right?
Just go for like the AKB48 or the 1AK Rock, because I'm pretty sure that's gonna have that.
Where's the lock and shield, mate?
Oh, God, a Larkin Seal. Oh yeah, Daybreak Spell. That's a song I could have done if they had it.
My wishes are indeed over the airspace.
Yeah. yeah, we're nearly 2 hours. I think it's a good time to wrap it up. I've got work early tomorrow, so any last comments? We'll start with you, JD.
Thanks for coming, everyone. This was my favorite major so far. Congrats to Fire for running it. You really knocked it out of the park. Don't be so hard on yourself.
All right, and Pichy.
That last run I just did hit 3 minutes and 5 seconds in Link to the Past 20%. I've been learning a speed run throughout the course of this podcast. But yeah, it was a good time. I had a bunch of other thoughts that I might get to some other time, but the short version is there are facets of events where we need to start budgeting to pay people to do certain things in order to ensure that they are done all the time. But that's for another day in a more serious podcast. This was just a general enjoy the event. It was a very good time. Come to events. They're really, really fun.
Yep. For me, I had a lot of fun, obviously. Wasn't really stressed that much at all in terms of TOing. Like, the most stress I had over the weekend was probably doing the melty stuff. But I didn't have a breakdown or anything like that. It was just more of a, okay, well, I fucked up, but whatever. Yeah, huge shout outs to the Ozhidu team for running it. So, first and foremost, Fiery, setting everything up, liaising with the Bankstown sports staff. Great venue, and I think the staff were very happy with how it turned out. So, shout out to him. Shout outs to Ichijin for being the micromanager across the whole weekend. Kyokuyen for the back end stuff. The guy's a wizard with all the stream and the pass stuff. Prods for running Guilty as well as helping me run Unist. He also helped running the Fiery stream setup with his laptop. So huge shout outs to Prods. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Come back to Sydney next year. I'll take you out to all the ramens in the world when we have the time.
Get
GTR,
that.
we didn't mention anti-homo boomer.
Oh, yes, the story. Okay, the greatest thing happened. JD, you should tell the story because it actually happened to you.
Sorry, my audio cut out. What did you say?
You should tell the story
the
because
story.
it actually happened
all
to
right.
you.
So GTR's taking the whole group, the whole anime group, to get ramen in the CBD somewhere in Sydney. So me and Tez are just behind GTR in front. We're walking down the street. This dude in like a black leather vest or whatever, he's like 40 years old. He sees Tez and he locks on. He's like, I know what must be done. He storms straight up to Tez and he's like, just barges straight in, interrupts our conversation. And he says to Tez, I reckon there should be a 25% gay and lesbian tax. What do you reckon? And just walks off. Everyone's trying to hold their laughter in, and I turn to him and I'm like, on what?
Like
As he
okay,
walks off.
the thing is that like I was ahead because I had to lead the group, so I didn't hear this happening, and then I go back like, what the fuck was that guy on about? And then you tell me, sort of like, oh, what the fuck? And you know what's even funnier was when we're crossing from the station to the other side of the road, and the guy on the bike. What the fuck was he on about?
Sydney's got some interesting people, guys.
Yeah, well, he was like blaming democracy or some shit. Like, I don't know.
The best part is he didn't even get the right guy. Like, I'm the gay one.
Oh, poor Tez. Yeah, but yeah, that ramen place is really good, right? Go-Go?
Oh yeah, I had a great time. That ramen place was far better than fucking Gumshara. God.
Pitchy.
That's
Hear
the
that?
Gumshara. I'm not a fan of Gumshara
okay.
either.
Yeah.
It's just gravy. I don't like meat. I don't like meat seasoned with meat. I like
Yeah.
vegetables.
Like, I think it's one of those bowls that you have like once, and then you're like, nah, I don't really want to come back here.
You have it once in your life, and
Yep.
you either go, "Wow, that is the most meaty meat.
No,
This
no,
is
no.
Meat Mountain," or you go, "I want to do anything else with my life. This is an epiphany right here."
No. What happened? What did I do? I've had the one bowl. If anybody beats my time, I'll have to go back and beat that. I smashed the death ramen bowl in 13 minutes, and if somebody has a better time with a witness, I'll smash it again. But until that time, I'm out.
Yeah, there's so many ramen places these days in Sydney, but they're mostly in the CBD though, so you got to make time to eat there, which like we made time on the Monday afternoon, I guess. So maybe like on the Friday morning or Friday lunch or Thursday night, do something like that. Go on a ramen crawl of sorts. But yeah. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Pichy. Thank you, Javi, who's fast asleep. I assume.
Always a pleasure.
For joining me here. It's always good to reflect back on a great weekend, and I guess next major will be Big Cheese 6th to the 8th of December. So I hope to see everyone there. And with that, join the anime Discord, the Australian anime Discord, for details of future events. Yeah, on behalf of JD and Pitchy, this is GTR signing out. Thanks, guys.